All right, well, welcome everybody. Happy New Year 2019. Welcome to the Rebuilding Club workshop. And glad that you were able to join us. Rather short notice. We did have it in the pilot, letting you know that it was going to be tonight at, at 5:30 p.m. I'm Mark Eisinger, and we also have Crystal Payne, that is our governor of our Chesapeake district. She's on the line today. And I'm going to start out with some tips and tricks for recruiting as well as retention. And feel free to ask questions along the way. We are going to post this to the website, so that way others that were unable to join would be able to listen in and see the PowerPoint presentation and the other handouts and so forth. Thanks to those that did join. We have Gwen Carter from the Shenandoah Greater. What's the name of yours, Gwen? I'm sorry.
Northern Shenandoah Valley.
Northern Shenandoah Valley. I always remember parts of your name, but not the whole name.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, Winchester, Virginia. And then we have Crystal and Larry Payne from Waynesboro. We have Carol Baird from my home club, the Martinsburg Civitan Club. And we have Miles Miller from the Capital Region Civitan Club. So thanks for taking a bit of your time today on this Sunday, the first Sunday of the new year. And so let me go ahead and switch over to another screen. Just one moment, please. The first screen I'm going to show you, this is a what we call tried and true practices for recruiting members. And this is one that came from Civitan International. And again, we can put this on the website as well, or I can email this out to you. But it talks about the evolution of Civitan recruiting. And we always talk about that, you know, about recruitment meetings, or even what we called seek meetings in the olden days, so to speak. But nowadays, there are some more, I guess, contemporary ways of recruiting members. Not that the recruitment meetings don't work anymore. They are tried and true, but we do have new options for new ways to recruit new members. So first of all, the recruitment meetings, they're traditional recruitment meetings. They involve a set program, a speaker, a formal invitation to join the club, and that invitation may be issued by the speaker or by a member who invited the guest. The meetings should be held 2 or 3 times a year. A lot of times we'll do these in April, so this is good timing to begin thinking about a recruitment meeting in April, because that's Civitan Awareness Month. So you can talk about Civitan awareness and so forth. Other times of the year would be in September, right before the end of the year, October at the beginning of the year, right before you start your Christmas projects. One other good time to be able to do this is if you do have a big volunteer event once a year. You might want to have a recruitment meeting a couple months before that event, so you can recruit volunteers to help you on your project, even though they may not join that night. They might join later once they help out with a project. So seek meetings or recruitment meetings are kind of like a recruitment drive, and there's a lot of information we can provide you if you want to do a recruitment meeting. And like I said, just jump in and ask a question if you have any questions on each one of these. Now, the contrast or more contemporary one would be the one-on-one or small group recruitment meetings. They can be in the form of a lunch date, a meeting at a Starbucks, or hanging out at a local brewery, other places. This is less intimidating and less formal, and it's focused more on a more relational approach to recruiting new members. You know, picture this: you meet somebody and maybe they see your Civitan pin and ask you about it, and you say, well, why don't we have a coffee one morning and I'll tell you more about it. So it's kind of maybe an introduction, maybe not a closing where you're going to actually ask them to join, but it might be a way to talk to them about Civitan, show them brochures or flyers, sign them up to be a volunteer, and then invite them to one of your meetings and your projects and so forth. So it's a little bit different, but the end result is similar. The next one would be Honor Youth and Parents Meeting. These meetings would work for clubs who sponsor or are involved with their local junior Civitan club. And you have a program where you recognize the youth and you invite the parents. Martinsburg Civitan Clubs does this, and we have a good example. Victoria Davis, who's the junior Civitan governor now, she brought her parents to a Civitan meeting where she was recognized, and she was a speaker for the club about the Leaders in Freedom Conference. A little plug for you, Miles and Crystal. And also to be able to, we were able to share Civitan with her family. And Amy Davis, her mom, joined the club. I'm not sure, Carol, if John joined the club, but we're even looking at creating a new junior Civitan club at St. Joseph's. So this can really be a great way to not only recruit parents of junior Civitan clubs, but also have an opportunity to maybe even expand our junior Civitan footprint in the community. And you can recognize more than junior Civitan clubs. You can recognize youth. You might have a $500 scholarship that you could have where they could write an essay about it and so forth. So there's a lot of opportunities to get into the high schools and then to be able to talk to the parents and invite them to be a part of Civitan. And that's, it says it's kind of a traditional one, but I think that's definitely one that we should be doing. The more contemporary one is a social event for youth and parents. This would be a social event that would be a way to host them. This would be like a color run. If you don't know what a color run is, it's basically like a 5K, and then they throw powdered paint at each other, and usually they're wearing white T-shirts, and they get them all, you know, different color of the rainbow and so forth. Dodgeball tournament, or sponsoring a local youth athletic team or league, and of course you're going to get, you may be able to sponsor a team, and maybe you get access to the parents because you might be able to go to the games and talk to the parents, invite them, because they're going to probably wonder what Civitan is. Next area, whoops, went too far. Hold on, let me go back. Scrolled up too fast. Miles likes the color run idea. Brochures and flyers. Yes, I'm afraid to say it. Hopefully you haven't bought 1,000 of these. But brochures and flyers are more of a traditional and great way to inform non-Civitan members about our organization. There's international versions. There are local club versions that you can create. And we've got samples and templates on each one of those. The newer version, or the newer way of communicating with people, is social media. And many of our clubs have touched on this in a little bit, and others a lot. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn are great ways to reach out to younger members and professionals. I haven't used Snapchat or Instagram, and I rarely use Twitter, but I use Facebook and LinkedIn very often when I'm using for recruiting. You can quickly and easily keep everyone updated on events, meetings, socials, and fundraisers, but it is important to keep your social media accounts updated weekly. Even in other organizations, we went online this morning to find out something about our church, and the information wasn't there. Well, you got to think about it from maybe the non-member. What are they looking for? You may, send out an email about your meeting, but then you forget to put it on Facebook, where maybe somebody who's liked your page might be going to Facebook to find out if you're having a meeting tonight or not. So it's very important to keep that Facebook page, maybe not weekly, because if you meet on a, every other week or a monthly basis, but at least regularly update your Facebook and other pages that you have. Yeah, Miles shared that LinkedIn is how he found out about Civitan through me, and look what a great member he's turned out to be involved with the Capital Region. And if I remember right, you're president this year, aren't you? Yes, he is. So that's great to have somebody come from LinkedIn and not knowing about Civitan at all, and then end up as president of the club. As we're going into best practices, and a lot of times you've heard this, especially in the Chesapeake district, because Denise Phelps was all into this. Thanks, Miles. Know your why. Why is very important, and I don't know if just great minds think alike, or if they stole the idea from Denise or what. But knowing your why. Why did you join Civitan? Why do you stay in Civitan? And learn how to tell other people about your why. What's your personal connection to Civitan? A lot of you have heard mine. My little sister, and of course I'm older, so she's not little anymore, but my little sister was labeled a slow learner and went through special needs classes and so forth. But now she's has her own home, has a mortgage, and works at a senior citizen home. So she's my why, and I've shared that with a lot of people, and there's a lot of similarities. I've met a lot of people who have relatives that have developmental disabilities, autism, and so forth, and this is the club for them to join. We're the only ones that are not only helping members, but we're looking for cures for these diseases and disabilities. Follow up. This is huge. A lot of clubs that I've talked to will have a recruitment meeting, and they only had one person join, or they only had a couple people, or no, they had nobody join. Well, that's okay. You still have their information. You have planted a seed possibly. So you need to follow up. Invite them to a meeting. Invite them to a project. That's probably even better. You can do this by writing them a handwritten note and mailing it, old-fashioned traditional way. Send them a text. Send them an email. Tell them thanks for coming. We hope to see you again. Can I pick you up for the next project? Can we meet for breakfast before we do the project? Make it so that it's relationship, not just, hey, how'd you like it? You want to join? You want to make sure that you kind of create a relationship with this new member, potential member, I should say. And a lot of times they really don't get the urge to join until they've actually participated in a project with you, or got to meet other people and maybe in a different setting than a meeting. I say traditional old-fashioned way with writing them a note and sending it to them. If you think about how many cards you received for Christmas, you probably didn't receive as many as you did a few years ago. Cards are probably more important and special now than they ever have been. So in some cases, getting a thank you card out might be a great way, because it's going to show a little bit of a different, they're going to get a little bit different feeling from somebody who takes the time to write a handwritten note and send it out rather than just emailing. I know it sounds odd, but I think nowadays it's a more special thing because they received it in the mail amongst their, junk mail and bills and so forth. Promotion should be on point. A bad flyer or social media account can quickly dissuade someone from joining the club. I've seen a brochure that had, 2016 president and officers instead of the most recent one. That's not going to go over well on a person looking at the brochure. check the brochure. Make sure that it doesn't have certain terminology that should not be used nowadays. The R word perhaps may be still being used in some flyers or brochures. So you don't want to use words or different things that would dissuade someone from joining the club. Try using the free tools. On our previous workshop that was at the end of November, we posted that on the website so that you can take a look at it. And what it is the intentional recruiting form that you can fill out and send to Megan Mendel at Civitan International. She's our membership person there. And she will create some great graphics that fit well with Facebook. They'll give you a brand or a logo that you can put up there. It's an incredible package deal that they provide you. They'll send you very good instructions on how to use them and so forth. Miles was talking about send-out cards. I used to use send-out cards. Haven't heard of Love Pop cards, but send-out cards, I know you can basically have your addresses and your contacts out there, and they can even make it so that your handwriting can be created as a font, and you can actually send out cards from an organization and actually send it out to you. And you can do these online, and you don't even have to lick the stamp or anything. If you need help creating a strong flyer or post, reach out to your membership specialist. That's Megan. Or Terry Shrimsher also is a great person that can give you information about public relations and media. Sell the cause. Yes, Civitan is one of the best kept secrets. It's been that way for a long time. Civitan International spends their money on research and other things. They don't spend it on marketing and advertising. We just feel that we'd rather spend the money on finding a cure. Make sure people in your community know you're the best person. The word by mouth is a wonderful way for us to get in touch with people and tell them about our cause. How do we improve your community or contribute to the CRC? Tell people about it. And we do improve your community by contributing to CRCs, because those cures are coming right back into your own community. Gwen sends out a thank you with a picture of the event. That's a great idea. Send out cards. You can upload pictures as well, but just a photo that you can print out. And you know, that's one of the problems with digital nowadays. You don't print out as many pictures anymore, but you can easily send those to Walgreens and pick it up, or I'm sure other drugstores and other places have that as well. Be genuine. People don't join the Civitan Club as a club. They join because of the people. So be true to who you are. Show people the joys of fellowship within your club. A lot of people will say, why do I have to join a club to volunteer? Why do I have to pay to volunteer? And I think you can be the best persons to answer that question, because I know in my situation, joining a club is like having a team of people to make a difference in your community. You know, I can just show up and be a volunteer, but what does that really do to make a difference in the community? Clubs that can work together as teams, that's where things get done. That's where events get created. That's where the money comes in. You can donate $100, you can donate some time, but you can't make as much of a difference as being in a Civitan club. And why do you have to pay to join? Because we got to keep the effort going. We got to contribute to the CRC. We've got to create these social meetings. We have costs to be able to do, but it provides the clubs the branding, international brochures, conventions, training, a lot of growth and learning. You know, Civitan's about service, knowledge, and fellowship. And so we provide the service. Knowledge is like just this workshop, going to district meetings and conventions, international conventions, all of that is, you can't get that if you just go and volunteer. You can get lifetime friendships through Civitan, and a lot of times you can't do that as a solo volunteer, as I call it. So this is a great 2-page flyer or handout that you could share with your club. I encourage you to share with your club. Get the discussion started. A lot of people talk about discussions nowadays, and this can really provide a good discussion for your board of directors or your membership meetings. So I'd encourage you to get this. I think it's available on the international website, but Crystal and I will be emailing it out or putting it on the website. So if you need it right away for a club meeting coming up, just email Crystal or myself, and we'd be happy to get this to you right away. Any questions or anything to add? Well, as we're talking about recruiting, and I want to talk about intentional recruiting, and this is an excerpt from another training that I've done, another PowerPoint that I've used, and I call it the ABCs of member ideas, because many times people will say, well, I don't know anybody that would join. Well, this is a good way to say, well, what about your accountant? What about your banker? A lot of these are common people that join Civitan. And when I talk about intentional recruiting or focused recruiting, if you don't have a treasurer, or you have a treasurer that wants to retire from their lifelong treasury position, this is a great way to say, okay, well, pursue an accountant, pursue a banker. On LinkedIn, you can do it. You can pick up a phone book and do this. Just contacting, go to Google, look up the accountants that are in your area, make phone calls, invite them to a meeting, say, we don't have an accountant, or we don't have a banker in our club and we really need one. We need somebody to take over the treasury and be a member of our board of directors. Don't be afraid. There's many people out there that want to be on the board of a nonprofit. So don't apologize that, it's kind of like we have a position available and we're trying to fill that position. So take a different approach to it. If you need a webmaster, you need somebody to do social media, look for somebody that would be able to do that. And this is where you can also get into more professional people. If you want to grow and recruit more professional people, this is a good list, a good example of who you can contact to be in your Civitan club. You have a lawyer on there, and a lot of people will say, well, how are you going to get a lawyer to join? Well, Capital Region has 2 lawyers that join Civitan, and gosh, both of them have been presidents of the club. So, and Annapolis has a lawyer. So there's a lot of lawyers that are involved in it. There's doctors, there's bankers, of course, and so forth. So there's many, many people on this list that you can recruit. And it is 6 o'clock. I've got one more thing to share with you. And I think I can just go ahead and, nope, went the wrong way. Hold on. Here we go. Retention. A lot of times we can't think about ways to help clubs retain members. And I came up with this as part of our training for retention. And all of them end with ATE, A-T-E. And I just happen to have, this is a Johnsonville Brats fundraiser that we had in Las Vegas one time. So when I think of ED night or ATE, I think of this Johnsonville Brats thing. We actually grilled brats for a fundraiser event in the parking lot of a professional bull riders, if I remember right. But one of the 8 here for retain 8 is initiate. Well, a lot of clubs will remember to recruit new members, but then they forget to do the next step, We have to initiate new members. And remember, this is how you qualify. One of the things that you use to qualify for the foundation's new club member sponsor grant is that the new member must be initiated. You need to give them a Civitian pin. You need to give them a name badge. One of my stories that I've given you in the past, or giving some in the past, is the member that left the Civitian club, and we asked them, well, why did you leave? And they said, because you never gave me a name badge. I never felt like I was a member of your club, or you wanted me. And we gotta be careful of that. We don't even understand how some people will have these feelings, and we don't know anything about it. And I don't know if am I sharing this screen, or am I just talking about it? I'm not sharing it. Apologize. There we go. So that's the initiate. The next one is orientate. Orientation is kind of a responsibility of the president-elect. In fact, it's in the president-elect manual, for the training manual. There's an actual script. It tells you what to order, what brochures, what to say, what to do. We even had it we'd have a trivia contest. You know, we'd go ahead and have some learning session, and then we'd have a trivia, and then we would give away like a Civitian mug, or, you know, Civitian paraphernalia and so forth. The next one is activate. Get them involved in a project. Get them involved with maybe a committee, an activity that you'd be able to get them involved in. Participate. Make sure that they're participating. If they're not, give them a call. Find out what happened. There's a lot of situations they might have health issues and you don't even know about it. So if you participate, if they're not participating, reach out to them. Educate. Inviting them to workshops, inviting them to district meetings or conventions. You know, you can have a roommate and bring them with you. You know, share a hotel room with them. Maybe the club can help pay for the new member registration fee or something like that. Next one is celebrate. Celebrate the accomplishments of the club and recognize those people that were a part of the success. If you have a good fundraiser, maybe have a celebration and maybe ask people what was the best thing about the fundraiser and what was something we could improve on. That's one of Denise's things that she does with the Market Street Masters. What was the best thing that happened, and what is the thing that we can improve on for next year? And if it's early enough from the fundraiser or the other project, you know, a service project, you can remember what happened. If you wait 6 to 8, 9 months later, you're going to forget what happened. Whoops, trying to go to the next page and it doesn't want to go. There it goes. Next one, be appreciate. This is one I used years ago when I was international president. We had the Civitiana Rockstar World, so we had the U Rock Award, and I've had other governors use this. They just use a different logo, but they still call it the U Rock Award. These certificates can be just printed out on a color printer. You put in the name, you sign it, whatever the event was, or maybe change it to be, you know, that they served as treasurer or secretary. You know, a lot of clubs can't afford a plaque, and a lot of people don't really want plaques. They got too many, or they don't have any place to put them, and so forth. So sometimes this little certificate that might be rolled up with a ribbon or put in an inexpensive frame could be something that you could provide to them. And this can be really good on a service project to thank the chairpersons and the top people involved. Duplicate. Duplicate means that encourage them to recruit new members. Not too many people leave Civitan if they've recruited other members in the club, because it's kind of like they've bought into it. They're recruiting people into the club, and they want those people to succeed. They want the club to succeed. Nominate. Nominating them into a board position, or like I said, recruit a treasurer and put them on the board of directors. This is some brand new ideas that you can have in your board of directors, and you're able to get these new ideas, and that could be the new ideas that just really expand your club. So nominating new people on the board, and a lot of people that are on your board of directors that have been on there for years, you know, they're going to be willing to step aside to be able to bring in some new ideas, to bring in some new people, and they'll still be around. They'll be advisors for the board. They'll always be there to help you, but they don't have to take that seat on your board of directors. Now, I'm not saying replace your whole board, but you can replace, you know, a couple individuals, get them onto the board of directors, nominate them for other positions, especially with new clubs. As you know, you end up being president-elect or president even in a short period of time. So don't think that you have to pay your dues or be in the club for a certain period of time before you take on those roles. Many of those roles, they already have those skills from their professional world. Be considerate. A lot of Civitan members might say the wrong thing. I remember somebody that said, yeah, John's going to be our newsletter editor this year. So this year it's going to be really good. Well, last year's newsletter editor may have been a little bit upset with that comment. So you have to be considerate with remember, we're all volunteers. So remember that, make sure that you are considerate to the volunteers, all of the volunteers. Congratulate. The last one would be congratulate the individuals on a successful service project, congratulate them for recruiting new members, and so forth. So although that might be similar to appreciate and some of the other ones, it is another good word to remember. And at the bottom I have there repeat and repeat and repeat, because this is something that you can't really do just one time. It's something that's an ongoing thing. And if, just in case you didn't see the ABC new member ideas, I don't know if I was sharing my screen, but this is the ABCs of new member ideas that I spoke about, just in case you haven't seen that. So you can take a screenshot of that, or you can go ahead and kind of jot down maybe a few of these. In fact, one of the things that I teach is to take a 3x5 card and write down 4 people that you would like to recruit in the next year. And let's say, for instance, that I put down that I want to find a banker, I want to find a lawyer, an insurance agent, and a nonprofit director. Or I put down names: John, Amy, Judy, and Randy. Those are the 4 people I'm going to work on. And then it's kind of funny how your mind starts thinking about those people. If you think about those people, it's funny how things are going to pop up. You're going to talk to Judy and say, oh, by the way, I was thinking about you. We're having a meeting coming up, or we have a service project coming up, and I think you would be great to volunteer for that. Would you mind going with us to this volunteer event? So you start thinking about these people, and it's just a subconscious thing that happens, that you start thinking about inviting them to a meeting or a project or even a social. And so you go ahead and you keep these 4 people and keep them, email them, invite them in person, call them, and so forth. And then if somebody says no, go ahead and cross that person off the list and add a new one. So you always have 4 people that you're working for. Or you do have one that joins. Yay! All right, so go ahead and cross that person off and go ahead and write in another one. So you always have 4 people that you are on your list that you're going to contact. Thanks, Miles. Good comments. those are the tips and tricks I wanted to share today, not only in recruiting, but retention. Now I'm going to open up the lines, as they say on the shows. Let me see if I can do that all at once. Yep, I'm going to unmute everybody. Well, it didn't work. I guess it says all participants are muted, but apparently some of you have him muted. Carol's muted, Quinn's muted, Miles muted. So let's open up the floor. The two things, if there's any questions, if there are anything you would like to share, but also Crystal and I need more ideas. What are we going to do now? January is going to be postponed because my mom's 90th birthday is that weekend, and I'm going to Indiana to celebrate her 90th birthday. My dad's 92, so it's going to be good. So I got to postpone at the end of the January, but we need ideas on what you would like to hear about. We had the intentional recruiting and the Canva public relations, social media type things last time. This time's more about the new and traditional ideas of recruiting and retention. So we need more ideas of what you think would be great to add to this. Thanks, Gwen. We want this to be what the clubs need, what the clubs want to hear about, and so forth. So please do think about. Go ahead, Carol.
Well, you know, Mark, we've talked before about having, what do we call them, social get-togethers other than the meetings that we have twice a month.
Right.
It's hard when we're a small group like this. You know how small we are to do that. I think it would be a nice thing to go out for coffee one day or lunch one day, just to chit chat, you know, talk about Civitan things, but not make it formal.
Okay.
The problem I think in our group is that we have a couple of the younger people, I want to say like Julie and Michaeline, they still have kids that are younger, so they can't just get out and leave, or they work during the day and they do stuff like that. But I think if you have a club that's a little bit larger, and I think that would help, you know, because, you know, right now it's just 2 times a month you come and you do stuff. But I think if you got to know each other a little bit better or involve them a little bit more, it might be more interesting to people.
Carol,
Just
you bring up a good point. A lot of clubs focus on the service knowledge, but they don't really concentrate on the fellowship. And I know we had a great time at the Christmas party.
We did?
I think everybody did. Between the Christmas Pictionary we did, as well as the elephant gift exchange, it was a lot of fun. And we don't think about the fellowship side, so I think that's a great idea. We'll have a session, at least part of a session, about what are good socials, what are some good ideas on the fellowship. It's almost like a 3-legged stool, and we're only on those, we're trying to balance on those 2 legs, but fellowship can be very, very important for a club, especially a club that's rebuilding.
Yeah, well, the other one we do is a picnic, but that's in June, and then we go off for a month. So
right.
Those are only 2 social things that we do. Okay. And then you can invite people to those social meetings to meet people.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other ideas? Well, you know, Crystal's email address, if you would like these flyers, which if you'd like the ABCs of new member ideas, just email Crystal or me if you have my email address as well. I'll be happy to get those out. We'll try to post these flyers as well as the video to the website. I'm not sure how quickly that'll happen, but we'll do that if you'd like others to watch it from your club, or you know of others that would be good in other clubs to be able to see this. And if there's no other comments, thanks again for joining us, and watch for the upcoming emails about what date we'll do the next one. And anything else anybody would like to share for the good of Civitan? Crystal, anything to add?
No, I can't think of anything.
All right, very good. When's the next district meeting?
April 7th, 8th, and 9th.
April 7th, 8th, and 9th. So get that on your calendar. Would love to see you there. I'm sure we're going to have maybe another workshop, maybe with the rebuilding club. So that would be a great way.
You got to put your thinking caps on to try to figure out who murdered the victim.
Oh, really? A murder mystery?
Yeah. A murder mystery dinner.
I like that. I like that. All right. All right, everybody. Well, thank you. We promised about 45 minutes, and that's about what we did. So thank you very much. Keep writing and let us know what else you would like to talk about.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Mark, this was great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye now.